All right, we're here with Ricky Wysocki. Ricky, you know what the first question is going to be. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm good, healthy enough to be back and playing this week at the Preserve. I'm super thankful for that. I think just being injured, being out, puts it in perspective and just makes me be thankful for every time I can be out here playing. And I'm good. I think I'd say probably 90%, not 100%, but we're getting closer, and that's what it's all about.
How has these past few weeks been? I know you talked about it's been a struggle not seeing everyone compete and not being out there.
Yeah, it's tough. It gets a little depressing. You know, it's definitely when you're competing every week and you go from playing and you know going through the tour, then just stop playing. It's tough because I love being out here competing and playing and doing what I do. So having an injury prevent that is really tough, and there's a lot of people that have to go through it. And me, Eagle, Simon went through it. A lot of top players are going through it. It's a long season and it takes a toll on your body, even though it's a non-contact sport. It's repetition can really can hurt you, and not even at all. My injury wasn't really repetition related, but it's just you got to take care of your body.
Any silver lining in it, like just taking a break mentally, just kind of shutting down, obviously physically, but any silver lining there?
Yeah, I think that I can take a positive out of that. When you get halfway through a season like the Pro Tour, it's it's week in and week out practice, play, go to the next tournament, do the same thing. So it kind of gives me a fresh new mindset. Middle of the season, normally you're a little bit burned out. You're not there mentally. Maybe you're just kind of going through the motions a little bit. Whereas me, took a month off, and really kind of got the fire back to really want to be out here playing instead of just kind of going through the tournaments. Just like sometimes you just go play the next tournament. Oh, just another tournament or just another tournament. But when you take time off, it really puts it in perspective for sure.
What's the plan? Just kind of ease back into it. Obviously, that's hard to do since you're here and you're competing. But is that in the back of your mind, or just to trust your body and listen to what it's saying on you?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's a good thing that you said, is just listen to my body. I think that this has never been an injury that I'm going to hurt more. It's obviously prevented me from playing and feeling my best. That's something that's a total bummer. But I guess I'm thankful that it's not the type of injury that if I play more on it, it's not going to get any worse. So that's something that's reassuring to me. And being a warrior that I am, if it swells up, I can fight through it like I showed at OTB. That was one of the best performances personally for me, just because of how much I was going through, and it really just meant a lot for me to be able to compete and play that well with pretty much one leg.
Nice. All right, we'll talk about this tournament and this beautiful piece of property in a minute. But we're going to throw it back. 2009 Am Worlds, which is going on this week. What was your mindset, if you remember, just going into it and competing on that biggest stage for the first time?
Yeah, well, for me, it was playing Am Worlds was great. Just playing as a junior, it's sometimes hard to find kids that play that are your age, and so all week you're getting to be around kids your age and just having fun. Going to maybe if there's like a local water park that I know the PDJ lined up all these different activities for the kids to do after their rounds, and I was playing like 16 and under back then. And so they did a good job planning out all the stuff to do after the rounds with kids that share the same passion of disc golf as you. So on the course and off the course, the Am Worlds as a junior and as just an amateur in general is just such a blast. You get to share your passion with so many people and have a chance to win an awesome title that nobody can take away. A world championship, no matter what, whether it's amateur or professional. It's an amazing thing.
Looking back at that tournament, you competed against some names that you're competing with here this weekend. What is this sport like to see, I guess like a class, so to say, where your group is coming through and now we got the next group coming through and now we got all these young guys out here coming up together?
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I think when you make trips to Europe and stuff like that, you kind of travel with your group, and you kind of, like the Nico, Paul Macbeth, Devin Owens isn't on tour as much anymore, but that's kind of a group that's kind of, that's been together, played together. And then you got the group like I would say like me, I guess maybe like Kevin, and similar age like that. Calvin, similar age as us. So we kind of got our group just based on the, 3 to 4 years of ages that you kind of, and then you got like the Gannons and the ABs and so yeah, it's kind of cool to have your come up and travel and play a lot of tournaments week in, week out with the people your age and your kind of, like you said, age group.
All right, appreciate it, Ricky. Here's Brian.
All right.
Hello, Ricky.
Hey.
So you had mentioned while you were talking to Hayden here that you felt good enough to play. Any changes to your gameplay throughout this week that you've had to make?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So for my sidearms, it's a little harder to plant, and it sometimes gives out, which at OTB was a big problem for me. I definitely had a lot of strokes that my body wasn't working and, just kind of gave out. But so it's a lot better, but it's going to be tough for me to throw sidearms. I'm going to be able to throw them. And it's not that it hurts. It's just I think I lost some stability in my leg just from being off of it for so long. I was limping and had a brace and all this stuff. So I had a month of not being on my leg, and I'm slowly starting to get my strength back. And so when I plant on my sidearm, it kind of likes to give out. So I'm hoping my leg cooperates. I know it will eventually. I think, maybe hopefully it doesn't take the whole weekend to settle in, but I think in the next day or two it should be back to normal.
Great. Next question is, this Lyme's disease stuff just comes and goes and flares, it seems like. Would you say throughout the span of your career playing this game, is this the most frustrating thing you've had to deal with?
Definitely. I mean, I think that it's very tough because the toughest thing is it affects everybody different. Some people think that just because they got it and it went away, and that, there's so many different variables to it. Whether you take the antibiotics or you don't, based on when you catch the disease, and some people catch it right after and are able to knock it out, and some people like me, unfortunately, it had 3 or 4 months to kind of take over in my body, and it's a lot harder to get rid of at that point. So the moral of the story is definitely check for ticks. Do whatever you can to, if you get bit by a tick, take precautionary measures. If you have to take medicine, if you have to do whatever you can to knock it out before it gets bad, do that, because it's a tough thing, and I already pulled a couple off me this week here. Yeah. They weren't latched on, but yeah. So there's disc golf and unfortunately and ticks go hand in hand, and yeah, watch yourself and definitely do tick checks because you want to prevent this disease at all costs.
So then, on a lighter note, I know you've had some heater questions. I've been seeing a lot of players wear those Nikes on the course recently. Can you talk about the footwear that you've kind of gone through, and if you're liking what you're wearing? A lot of amateur players do like to talk about what is the best footwear.
Yeah, no, that's awesome that we can answer that. So for me, I like the Nike Wild Horses, and I just like the grip. So here, I'll take them off and show you guys. So I like the grip, and it's got, like, if you can see here, it's got some spikes, but it's not too grippy. So that's something I look for. Is I want grip, but I want also for my foot to be able to rotate. I don't want to plant and then have my body rotate. That's how you tear stuff. So I want to have some grip, but then also have some give to where my foot can rotate. And so I think these are good for that. And I also don't want too clunky. These are nice and lightweight. It feels like they're light on my feet, and I feel agile, and I feel like my body can move in them.
And then is that something you're wearing on just turf? I know we're playing on turf this week, or do you switch it up for concrete?
Yeah, no, I wear them pretty much for all tee pads. I just like to use the same shoes just for consistency feel. I think I haven't really, there's probably, different, tee pads are better for certain shoes. I haven't really got that far. I just, I find a shoe that I like for most scenarios, and I just go with that.
Perfect. Well, good luck this week, Randy.
Thanks, Brian.
Hey Rick, Chris with Gatekeeper. You and I have had some private conversations about Lyme disease, me being someone who also suffers with it very severely. We've also met a couple people on the way who severely have it to the point where they can't really walk too much, or they have a cane. How much do you fear that, being an athlete, of the longevity of your career and something like that kind of coming a little earlier than some might say? And
yeah, no, that's definitely something that's in my head. I try to take care of my body, take supplements, and the more you support your joints and with supplements and vitamins and minerals, it definitely it makes your chances better that you're not going to get Lyme's not going to get to your joints and make you have to walk with a cane and all this stuff, because it's brutal. And there's people that just get taken out completely. And when I first got it, I was taken out. I couldn't walk, and I had a cane, so I can relate to those kind of people. And it really hits different when you can go through a personal experience like that. But yeah, I try to do as much as I possibly can to prevent anything, any of my joints from getting to the point where I can't walk or they just deteriorate.
yeah, I'm always on your side pulling for you with that.
Thanks, dude.
Another question just about the preserve and disc golf in general. This course sets up really good for you, previous champ. What do you think is the hardest thing about this course on a pro level that you guys have to work with? It feels like it's very windy, even though you're kind of in the woods sometimes. What's your thoughts on that? Yeah,
it's very unique. I think that, like you said, there's some wooded shots that you're actually, the wind is ripping, which is really weird, because normally the trees cover the shots and the wind isn't affecting too much when you're in the woods. But here, there's tunnel shots with trees everywhere where you're still having a huge headwind, which is a tough situation to deal with when you're trying to throw tunnel shots and straight shots. And so yeah, the wind's gonna be a factor all week, and I think that it's really gonna come out with smart game plan and really thinking through your shots. I think thinking through your shots in the wind and trying to predict what your disc is gonna do in the wind before you throw it is the most important way to succeed in the wind.
Thanks, Ricky. We'll be right back.
Thanks, guys.